Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about Nashville, Tennessee, a certain city in the Southern Belt that's been getting a lot of attention lately. We've talked about it previously for a number of different reasons. Most notably, around a year ago, we talked about how their mayor there was very corrupt. She actually had to resign because she got caught, I believe, sleeping with one of her security agents and cheating on her husband and using government funds and resources to cover that up. It was a bad story to come out of Nashville, but not too surprising either because we've seen this happen multiple times, particularly with female Democratic mayors. They seem to be one of the most corrupt kind of mayors you can elect. I don't know why. I'm not saying anything against girls in general, but there's definitely a trend here. It's happened in other cities like San Francisco. They had a corrupt female mayor that was letting poop hang out in the streets, having all these bums around, doing illegal things, making the city way worse. This also happened in Baltimore. Baltimore had a number of female mayors that were also black, and they were caught being corrupt. One was selling this children's book she wrote to her own schools and kind of forcing them to buy her book, which put money in her pocket. So this isn't the first time. Democrats are known to be corrupt leaders. These female mayors appear to be a trend, and that's not exactly what's going on today, but it is partly what's going on in Nashville. It's bad leadership trying to cover up something rather nefarious. You see, recently the bars and restaurants reopened in Nashville, and the numbers were not helping the Democratic causes. You see, there's not enough people catching this sickness and virus, this pandemic that's going around, and the officials in Nashville are trying to cover up those good numbers. They don't want it to look good. They don't want the virus to look like it's going away and people are getting better and going back to normal. So we actually have some evidence, and people have been talking about this story where the officials in that area are trying to cover up their good numbers. So this is rather shocking and very interesting, and it goes along with a lot of theories people have had about this virus. So we're going to talk about this more soon, go over the details and why they would want to cover this up real quick. But first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Hey guys, I'm real excited to offer you another one of these free gold coins. This time it's the Second Amendment gold coin from our partners over at Beyond Patriots. Right now, it's never a better time to support our Second Amendment and our right to bear arms and protect ourselves. I mean, think about all the chaos going on in this country. Now's never been a better time to get yourself some self-defense and exert your Second Amendment right here in the United States of America. And that's why I say we should also get these free gold coins to help represent that. These coins are being given away for free right now for a limited time, only if you click the link below this video. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and you'll get these free gold coins with a beautiful weapon embroidered on them, and it's got American flag and a cool quote on the back. It's just really slick, really cool, and you could tell that you're a Second Amendment supporting American patriot. So if you're interested, if you enjoy this country and our rights and our Second Amendment right to bear arms, make sure you check out our exclusive link below and get yourself this free gold coin. All you have to do is pay for shipping. Thanks for your time today, and now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's turn to the article in question. As this quote and tweet says, it says, "The discussion involves the low number of coronavirus cases emerging from bars and restaurants and how to handle that, and most disturbing, how to keep it from the public." So this is an email. We're going to get to this article. This article has a copy of this email that they caught, and essentially they're trying to cover up the good numbers because they don't want there to be a good sign right now. They don't want things to get better because essentially the election's coming up. November 3rd or 4th is when we vote. The first Tuesday in November is election day for America, and that's pretty soon. It's less than 2 months, and a lot of these Democrats, they want the virus to keep going, to keep scaring people, to keep people wearing masks, keep places closed. The worse the country looks, the more they can try and spin it and blame it on Trump. This is why they've done other things like start riots, tear down cities, burn down buildings and stores. They've also started fires in places like California. They've burnt down forests trying to pretend that climate change is causing it and blaming that on Trump too. It's a big mess. It's super messed up. And I believe this story from Nashville is part of that. And it's some of their officials getting caught doing something that I think is probably illegal too. The coronavirus cases on Lower Broadway may have been so low that the mayor's office and the Metro Health Department decided to keep it secret. Emails between the mayor's senior advisor and health department reveal only a partial picture, but what they reveal is disturbing. The discussion involves the low number of coronavirus cases emerging from bars and restaurants and how to handle that. And most disturbingly, how to keep it from the public. Wow. So again, we're back to talking about the mayor of Nashville. I'm not sure who that is right now. Let me go ahead and check. So the mayor is now John Cooper. That's not the typical mayor that we talked about. I believe Megan Barry right here, she was the mayor that got caught and had to resign in shame. That was the one that we talked about, the female mayor that got caught and resigned. And now it's John Cooper, who I believe is probably another Democrat. Let's check. No, I don't want to see his picture. John Cooper. Let's look up John Cooper. Mayor. Democrat. Yes, of course. They're all Democrats. It's a very, very Democrat-run area. And yeah, this is where this story is coming from. And that's why it's super, super messed up. Democrats are controlling Nashville. They're trying to hide this information from the public. They don't want to be the city that reveals that things are getting better and giving a trend. But them trying to cover it up has actually backfired here. Obviously, now we're discovering this and seeing just how bad this whole situation has gotten. On June 30th, contact tracing was given a small view of coronavirus clusters. Construction and nursing homes were found to be causing problems with more than 1,000 cases traced to each category. But bars and restaurants reported just 22 cases. Leslie Waller from the health department asked, "This isn't going to be publicly released, right? Just info for the mayor's office." Correct. Not for public consumption, writes senior advisor Benjamin Eagles. A month later, the health department was asked point blank about the rumor there are only 80 cases traced to bars and restaurants. Tennessee lockout reporter Nate Rao asked, "The figure you gave of more than 80 does lead to a natural question. If there have been over 20,000 positive cases in Davidson and only 80 or so are traced to restaurants and bars, doesn't that mean restaurants and bars aren't a very big problem?" Health Department official Brian Todd asked 5 health department officials, "Please advise how you recommend I respond." So this is obviously someone trying to, conceal information, asking if it should go public. I mean, they might be able to defend that and say, hey, these conversations happen all the time. But in light of their reactions and the way they're policing and kind of closing everything down, it makes you think, hey, why are we closing these bars? Why are they hiding this information? Why can't we just have all these tests and numbers be public? Let's keep it transparent. And yeah, it just goes to show they're trying to keep stuff more locked down. I actually remember this happening in the beginning, like in March. Yeah, I remember Nashville had to close its bars and a lot of people still went. There was still some events and concerts going on. I believe we covered that in another video way back then. And yeah, this story just goes along with that. It's a follow-up showing that the lockdowns might not even be necessary. And then you got to ask yourselves, if they're not doing lockdowns to save people's lives, if it's not being done in the most prevalent areas for the pandemic, then why are they doing it? Well, it's obvious, like we've said, everything in an election year is about the election. And this is another case of that. They're trying to close down bars and restaurants because that's the most prominent location that people will go to, eat, have a drink after work, enjoy themselves, maybe even have a conversation, discuss things over a beer, have a talk about what's really going on, how you feel about the world and the politics. So they want to close that down. They want to keep everyone at home, keep people scared, make them think everything's going crazy out in the world, which it is in some ways. I mean, sure, there's some riots and stuff, but I think the main thing, and I've noted this on Twitter and a few places, especially when I get attacked and people call me out and say, oh my God, it's so bad in America. Oh my God, look at all these virus cases and all this. And I just try to turn around and say, hey, it's really not that bad here, guys. I know it seems like it. I know on this show, we talk about a lot of crazy stuff too. So it might seem worse in this bubble, but you got to keep in mind, we're on the internet. We're dealing with news. We're dealing with information coming from millions of cities and different people across the planet. So it's not nearly as bad as most people think. Now, if you do have specific personal examples, then that is a good testament to something happening to you. For example, God forbid, if someone gets sick, or if one of these riots hurts a place you work at or a place you live, surely you can make a complaint and say, hey, stuff sucks right now. But I don't see most people having that. I've never even met someone that had the virus or had it anywhere in my vicinity, God willing. I'm so grateful for that. But the riots are far and away from me too. Thank God. And if I lived in a worse city, I would definitely be more considerate of that. But the truth is, it's just if it's not affecting you and you're just seeing it in the news, it's not really that bad for your area. You got to take it personal account into account. And I'm not trying to say, oh, I don't care if something's going on for someone else either. I know someone responded with that, but that's not the point. The point is this stuff is getting overhyped. They're trying to blow this up in the news. They're trying to act like the virus is worse. The riots are worse. Now the wildfires are a new issue that they're bringing up. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink out at us just to hype things up for the election. That's the main point. It's just like how they overhype stories about Trump, or how they call conservatives mean names, like made up stuff, say everything's racist and stuff like that. Here's a post from Fox Nashville. It says, COVID emails from Nashville's mayor office show disturbing revelation. My 2 cents. We have certainly refused to give counts per bar because those numbers are low per site. So this is another revelation and quote from the emails. They don't want to give out the low numbers because it's going to make their lockdowns look worse. I mean, why are you going to lock down places if there's only 1 or 2 cases in this big major American city? There's millions of people in the Nashville area. There's lots of visitors and business and, internationals and people across the country come there for business and work and tourism and stuff like that. So the fact that they have these low cases in bars and restaurants is definitely a bad look, and it's going to come back and bite them in the butt really soon, especially since it's getting leaked right now. They're actually making it worse. The name at the top of the response is clipped off, but you may find the answer unacceptable. My 2 cents. We certainly refuse to give counts per bar because those numbers are low per site. We could still release the total though, and then a response to the over 80 could be because that number is increasing all the time and we don't want to say a specific number. Neither the health department nor the mayor's office would confirm the authenticity of the emails, but council member Steve Glover had a Metro staff attorney inquire. Here's the official answer. I was able to get verification from the mayor's office and the Department of Health that these emails are real. The staff attorney answered. Glover says this is Metro Nashville orchestrating a cover-up. They are fabricating information, Glover said. They've blown their entire credibility, Dennis. It's gone. I don't trust a thing they say going forward. Nothing. So this is some harsh criticism. I think it's deserved. It definitely smells like a cover-up in Nashville, and it's also a cover-up for Democrats at large. Like I said, this city is a major city. It's a liberal run one as well, like all these other ones across the country that are falling apart. And Nashville is showing that it's having corruption again. And I think that's important too, because like I said, we've talked about this before. About 2 years ago, the Nashville mayor had to resign in shame. And now they have another Democratic leader there doing another shady thing. This time, I would say borderline election meddling. They're trying to push this propaganda. They're covering up the numbers. They're closing down stuff for longer than it needs to be. And it's just really a good sign in our favor. Like, they act like we're crazy. They call us like, hoaxers or tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. But this is a proof. This is a backup. This is the fact that this is happening. We have email evidence. We have people talking about keeping the numbers secretive because, they don't want you to know it's not that bad out there. And that's what I've been saying. That's what I say online sometimes and responding on Twitter. I'm like, it's not really that bad, guys, especially internationals. I can understand if you're here and you might think that if it's in your area, but people from other countries look in and they think America's just falling apart when it's really not. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like to help the video get shared. And until next time, have a great day.